Hello. Today's episode number 73 of the Professor Slots podcast discusses, do winning slots strategies really exist? Yes. Today we discuss why. Plus in this episode I'll be covering the current state of slot machine casino gambling in the great U.S. states of Florida and Georgia. Thank you for joining me for the Professor Slots podcast show. I'm John Friedel, and this is the podcast about slot machine casino gambling. It is where I provide knowledge, insights, and tools for helping you improve your slot machine gambling performance. In case you missed it, on my last episode, I went over income tax gambling deductions in my live Q&A session on YouTube. Further, I reviewed District of Columbia slot machine casino gambling in 2019. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Here's the audio recording of my latest live Q&A session, regularly scheduled for each Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on my YouTube channel, available at professorslots.com/live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 1 hour. And I want to make sure that we are up and running. Looks like any second. Okay. Excellent. And as usual, there's the general checks. Right. Stream health is good. Healthy. Excellent. Analytics. All right. Okay. So, right. Welcome to our Saturday, a regular Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, question and answer session. Today I thought we would talk about, do winning strategies exist? I got some questions lately, and I thought a group answer, instead of multiple emails, would be a great way to answer this. So if you've been a regular part of the live Q&A, then you've already heard me say Happy New Year, and Happy New Year. I hope that 2020 is a prosperous year, and let's move into it. I also want to say a hearty hello to the people listening in on the podcast at a later time. Feel free to join us here on YouTube on my channel, John Friedel, Professor Slots. Link in the show notes. That would, you're welcome to come here and ask your questions live. Okay. And I'm almost positive we're good to go, as usual. I think we have sound, I think we have video, and I think we're on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Awesome things. As I had mentioned, there have been questions, lots of questions. I think I mention this almost every time, and I am trying to answer them for you. And one of the things, I should mention, my value proposition. What I'm, do here is, in case you're new to the show, new to my channel, new to my website, podcast, book, or website. Did I say that one? Is, to help you master casino slots, to win your way to success. What I am trying to explain to people is how to take advantage of casino business practices. There's been a lot of growth in casinos across the United States, at least, and other places. It's surprising how it's growing globally. And one of the things that casinos operators, those people who own casinos, those corporations that own casinos, are trying to do is make things a little smoother for the bigger and bigger crowds that are visiting casinos as more casinos come up, as they get more modernized. And one of the things they want to do is reduce their workforce. There's several things they want to do. One is to reduce their workforce while being able to handle things more smoothly for all the many people that are going to casinos these days, more and more all the time, as well as meet their gaming regulations for their gaming jurisdiction a little bit better financially, a little bit better, more accurately, and just have less headaches that way. So there is one solution for all of that, and that is to get automation. automation in their operating system, wire up all the slot machines to a central server, have smart devices on their slot attendants' arms so that they know where to go when and be there quickly, and everything's just, and being able to have kiosks instead of waiting in line as much, many kiosks, so fewer slot mechanics, fewer people stationed at counters, and more automation. And when you do that sort of thing, there are consequences to players, and turns out it's not all bad news. It's actually pretty useful. I mean, one thing I don't like is we talked about players' rewards clubs before. There's some very persuasive, I won't say manipulative, persuasive slots players out there who would go up and talk to an individual and convince them to get a free shrimp dinner or free whatever, this thing, that thing, friendly, not friendly, whatever works. Try to get something from them. Not possible to do that when you go up to a kiosk. So that might be a disadvantage. Otherwise, it's all advantages for players, because the casino is now able to apply business practices, things like it's easier to win in the afternoon, and we'll talk about this. It's the odds in the morning are different from the odds in the afternoon, which are different from the odds in the evening. Meaning, the morning or the afternoon or the evening has better odds for you. You just have to figure out which one. And so these sorts of taking advantage of business practices is mostly what I'm about. I also help with, being safe and gaming regulations and a few other things. But when it comes to the winning strategies, I am taking advantage of casino business practices, and it's just a matter of figuring out what your casino does and then reading up on my solutions and figure out and see if the suggestions I make for that particular business practice is something that you will be able to apply. Some people can't apply everything that I suggest. 4:00 in the morning is a little early for some people, but that's the solution the day after a big event. It's at many casinos. So, what I wanted to go through here, just have a conversation about what I offer. But today, I got a question yesterday, and I thought it was a pretty good one. I'm not seeing anybody in the live chat yet. I do hope we're live. Okay. Welcome everybody. I was apparently talking to myself for 6 minutes. It is always interesting to make sure this works. Welcome everybody. For those of you who haven't been here before, my name is John Friedel. This is my channel, Professor Slots, and we talk about how to win at slot machine gambling by turning casino business practices against them and master casino slots. Win your way to success is the short answer. I've won 90 taxable jackpots in 9 months. The taxable jackpot is $1,200. And I think we got good screens. And the largest was, okay. Hello, Steve. Hello, Denise. Good to see you. Good to see you. See your text, see your words. But in any case, the largest taxable jackpot in that 9 months, I've won more than 90, but in that 9 months, that first 9 months of coming back to it, coming back to slots, all big surprise for me and took lots of notes, and that ended up being a book later. But the big jackpot of those 90 was $27,000. And at the end of that 9 months, I won a car, and it was pretty much all deliberate. There's some luck involved. We'll talk about how that factors in. Absolutely. But that kicked me off into, well, I wonder if people would like to know more about this. And so a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I sat down and went, okay, so what's an LLC? That's a type of business. How do you write a book? Take a year, write a book. Turns out, that's the last thing you want to do. Oops. The book's done. And just go through, how to have a podcast, how to have a website, how to have, a YouTube channel now, and all the usual. So, usual things that you might want to do. So today I'd like to talk about a question that I got. It's related to Steve. Steve sent me an email late last night. And he's the one that also guessed, or we thought the same, great minds think alike, last time. And we decided on the same topic. And it got me thinking about an email that I had received. And I thought, let's just face this head on. This is the question I got from, and I'll use first names and the state. Some of the stuff is this is from the Illinois slot machine casino gambling Facebook group. I have one for each state, territory, and our federal district. So 56 of them to manage. And then I also have the sort of the national or the global, Professor Slots enthusiasts. And you're welcome to join whichever one is appropriate. But in the Illinois slots community on Facebook, Sadhan, asked an excellent question. And I said so. And he was telling me his favorite casino as I've been asking people there. And he came back and he told me, and he came back with another comment, which was, and a quick question, ... Is there really any way to win in slots, or it's just luck? ? And I will tell you what I said, but I will also talk about what I said. Let's just face this head on. You get a lot of people that have played slots for decades and haven't really noticed. Some have, some haven't, don't know quite what to do with it. All the stuff that's been happening since 2012, and not everywhere. Casinos have been getting upgraded with, and it's not easy because you have to tear up the floors and all that, and that's downtime, and they don't like to do that. But on the other hand, they are able to reduce their workforce, both their slot mechanics, be more efficient. Right. Sorry. Lots of chats coming in. Right. So, where was I? Gotta not be distracted here. So basically what I want to say is that casinos changed their operating systems or gained operating systems where they started adding a lot of automation. For those of you on the podcast, by the way, hello to everybody in the podcast that would be listening to this later. That first 6 minutes that the YouTube individuals kind of missed when I didn't have it connected properly, then that's what I want to mention here, which is that the casinos had a lot of reasons to automate, and automation is something that can be taken advantage of that didn't exist before. So I talk about stuff that's happened to casinos in the last maximum 7 years. And that's only at the casinos that first started renovating this much, and some haven't even done that yet. So it's more and more casinos are doing this in the last few years. And so it's kind of new what I'm talking about. That's why I would say there's plenty of people who are going to figure this stuff out, but I was just first and I'm several years ahead. And so I hope to maintain my lead. But, Satan, from Illinois, asked the question, is there really any way to win in slots, or is it just luck? ? And I said, excellent answer. Frankly, it's both. Casinos have broken the odds of winning, so they aren't fully random anymore. Yes, they're random in the morning. Yes, they're random in the afternoon. But the odds of winning are different in the morning and the afternoon at modern casinos because casinos made them that way. It's the new casino operating software and business practices it allows that them to implement, meaning one time of day is better than another. So we only need to figure out which is which. The odds used to be the same for weeks at a time, day and night. Now we only have to figure out which time of the day or day of the week has better odds. Put another way, I can't make you any luckier, but I can explain the business practices casinos use to draw in crowds and what you can do to take advantage of them, like come in early the next day after a big event, after a big night at the casino. Not every casino uses every business practice I've learned how to take advantage of, so you have to figure out which does which. Some are more common than others, though. My website has a bunch of articles, all free, that explains this. It's not for everyone, of course. Some old-time slots players can't seem to get their head around my ideas. If you walk into a casino, look around, and want to know what's going on, I can help. If you don't care to figure it out with me, and you're trying to, and would rather go get drunk and push buttons on random slot machines, then I can't help. It's also important to keep in mind which gambling goal you might have, so you understand what you're trying to accomplish. More money, more comps, more fun. The last one is by far the most common. I also mentioned the golden rule. Don't bring money to the casino, which you are not comfortable with being able to lose. And I suggested that Sedan, welcome to the slots community, and let me know if you have more questions. He came back with, Mr. John, thank you so much for the reply. I started playing 2 months ago. I don't know much about it, but maybe beginner's luck or something. I won some small amounts often. All of them are less than $500 only, but somehow I and my wife got addicted to it. We've played almost actually, we played almost actually lost like more than $2,000 within a month. My question is, there any way to make money out of it? Is it possible? Any live classes or something like that? Can you help me out in any way? Double question mark. That would be a great help. ... So, this is a business for me. I know that because yesterday I reached 2,000 email subscribers, which was my way of deciding whether or not I had a business. If I could not get 2,000 email subscribers, well, I couldn't have a business. But if I could get 2,000 email subscribers, then I would have a business. And I hit 1,000 6 months ago. So I have a business as of yesterday. Awesome. And, of course, I saw this coming by a couple months. And so at the end of last year, I started figuring out what can I start offering to people, because I do try to answer every Facebook comment, every Twitter tweet, every email, in as much detail as I can, but I am rapidly running out of time. I will continue to answer every tweet, Facebook comment, email, but unfortunately the responses are going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. And having a conversation back and forth many times where I ask you questions like, what state are you in? Because the gaming regulations matter. Where are you located? In that state, roughly. What casinos do you like to go to? Do you travel outside of the state? So we can talk about your personal needs. The things that you do, the things you've observed, because I haven't been to all 2,000 whatever casinos in the country. So I need to, ask you what you've observed and point out what those things mean. And this all takes time, and I'm slowly running out of it. But there's an easy solution. If you want to go to the head of the line, if you want my undivided attention for 50 minutes, professorslots.com/consult. Welcome. Hi, Catherine. Catherine says you provide information that no one else does. Best to my determination, there are a few, YouTube channels that have a couple of videos where they're half right. Top 10 tips. And I'm like, well, 2 and 8 are the same. 6 and 4 aren't true. The rest are good. So I did at least one review of some YouTube channels, and I think I might do more of that just so I can say, this is right and this is wrong. And it's just based on my education, my experience, as an engineer, as a physicist, as a teacher, for decision analysis and system simulation. This is all technical stuff, but it's my background, the education, 30 years of education, technically 25. My 8 college degrees, that's them back there, including 3 graduate degrees, one of them a doctorate, and another one, a master's of engineering management, which helps me understand business practices. These things allow me to, and I do pattern recognition. It's what a part of just something I've gotten the habit of being able to do and gotten good at it. And so I walk into a casino and everything kind of comes clear to me. And so I want to do more reviews on this next year. But getting back to the point, Sudan asked, do I have online classes? Do I have live classes? And I decided to go live here to answer questions as best I could, in the time allotted for the many people who might have questions. Thank you, Catherine, by the way. I appreciate that. Appreciate you saying that. And it's certainly true. But, if I'm going to, what I thought I would do is offer one-on-one consultation. I've got about 6 50-minute slots available per week. So definitely a limited availability. You can go to, and I'll type this in, the website link. It is professorslots.com/consult. It's fairly inexpensive and will never be cheaper than it is now. It's only going to go up because once all 7 slots, fill up for the next 2 weeks, or 6 slots fill up for the next 2 weeks, immediately, then I will need to raise the prices. So they're as low as they're going to get. There's some availability. It's in the evenings, Eastern time. I believe I've got it set up for 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in the evenings, and pick a time and we'll go over all your stuff. I'll come back to the comments in a moment. I don't want to just distract. Just keep making the comments and we'll come to them in a few minutes. Right. So unfortunately, no, I don't have any live classes. I have the live Q&A right now where you can join Sudan. I haven't seen him yet. And maybe he'll listen to it later in the podcast. Or you can buy an hour, 15 minutes of my time. I keep on saying an hour, it's 50 minutes. Need to have a few minutes in between each session, like class. Need time to get to the next class, at the university. So yeah, we'll do that. I might offer an online course eventually, but there's kind of like a barrier. There's another question I'll have, I think it might have been Steve. Someone asks, and I'll work through these, would I mind? Oh yeah, there was an individual who emailed. He's like, so would you mind coming to my casino and showing me around? And I'm like, okay, so airfare, hotel room, you're paying for all this? Because I give my family the 100% discount. 100% family discount. I go to Florida, to explain things, and I wrote that up on my Seminole Brighton article. It's about 2 hours south of, Orlando. So figured out how to win there for my dad, who was going to watch this later, I guess, and his friends. But I can't see how I could travel that much and, as much as I could that way when I could just tell you from a distance. I don't see any going to somebody's house, going to somebody's casino and explaining things, just for them. It would cost thousands of dollars, frankly, for my time and for the airfare and for the, the hotel room, car rental. I'm not staying in anybody's spare bedroom. Sorry. That's going to be, not something I'm going to be able to do. However, I was thinking that I might make trips to like Oklahoma, Washington, Pennsylvania, and kind of have like a meetup. Maybe spend the weekend and first go to the west side of the state and then go to the east side of the state and just make an announcement here and just say, I'll be at such and such casino from this time to this time. Feel free to show up, and we'll have to see how that goes. If I get a huge crowd, then the casino's not going to be happy with me, unless I make prior arrangements. And so they can accommodate that. So, get a meeting room, that sort of thing. So I haven't figured any of that out, but as our slots communities grow for each state, I'll be able to pinpoint, what people's favorite casinos are. That's what I always ask there. And I'll be able to say, well, 50 people could show up at that one casino potentially if they all showed up. And why don't, I might be able to do something like that. And then I don't see myself, I won't be charging you for that. However, if I make arrangements with the casino to rent a room, I would charge them. This is called paid speaking engagements. And I'm not there yet. It might be something I don't do this year, but it might be like next year. So that's a long-winded answer. Yes, Denise makes a good point. Once you figure out how to win at a casino, the non-tribal casinos, they change ownership. And these are business practices. So the business practices change. So what I want to try to do is not tell you how to win. I mean, I'll do that. But what do they say? Teach you to fish, don't give you fish. I want to train you to figure it out, because I can't walk you through it side by side with you. First off, it's terribly expensive. And second off, there's only 2 weekends in a year. And I have a full-time job where I don't have that much vacation time, to do anything like this. So I want to explain to you how to do stuff, and in a simple manner. Look for this, look for this, look for this. And, if you find any one of those things, then do this or do this or do this. And there's 7, 8 different things to watch for, and 7, 8 things to do in response to those business practices that you might find. So taking a step back for just a moment, there are some things that I am going to be doing this coming up, and I'm figuring out what those are, and I'll announce it later. But I have figured out that these live Q&As, I don't think once have I live out in farmland. I don't have a great internet connection, or I didn't until about 4 months ago when I was upgraded. I mean, I pay for the best, but that doesn't make it great. And I was chatting with people on video, and it was hanging. You know what I mean? It just froze, and then moved, and sound gets all messed up, video gets all messed up. Well, once they upgraded me to a better service, apparently they put some new lines in or something. I was already paying for the best, and so I automatically got put in this. Suddenly I could go live without any of those hangups. As you'll notice, I don't have any here. And I think I've done this Q&A like 7 times now, and never have I had that hang. And so, I'm happy to see that live is here to stay. And I'll pick a topic and then take your questions, and we'll do that. But I'm also coming out, and I came up with one already, and it was just fantastic response, on channel videos. So my state-by-state stuff really wasn't for YouTube channel. It was just something I put there so I could put it on my website. And those always got like 25 people from Wyoming or something, 25 views from Wyoming after 6 weeks. And that's not going to cut it, for having a channel, which is a slightly different project. So I am now putting up videos, and you'll want to know about this, because here we're just sort of having a discussion, but there I'll be presenting in 4 minutes or less, or 8 minutes or less, or 18 minutes or less, whatever I can, minimum amount of time I can make it. Just point after point after point. There you go, there you go, there you go. And, explaining how to do this stuff. Here we're talking about reasons why and special circumstances, but there I'll be saying, and this is what you do, and this is what you do. You look for this, do that, look for this, do that. And so, yeah, I see some of the questions. I'll get to that in a moment. So watch for those videos. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe to the channel. You either know what that is and have already done it, or you don't have to because you've already come to my channel and it's just going to show up on the page. There's no reason apparently for you to subscribe. If you want to, that would be awesome. Makes me feel good every time that happens. But you can expect, I'm looking at 2 videos a week starting on Tuesday. I put one out a week ago Thursday, and I wanted to judge the response, but it looks like a new video that's not the live on Saturday, Tuesday would be a new video, probably 7 p.m. Thursday, 7 p.m., new video. And then Saturday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, live Q&A. So 3 videos a week. Hopefully that's not too much for you guys. I thought about doing it every day, but it's just too much for you and maybe for me. And 2 videos and 1 live session per week might still be too much for you. So we'll see how it goes. I might have to drop back to just a Thursday show, a Thursday video and a Saturday live, whatever makes you guys comfortable and you respond well with. And if you have an opinion about that, please share. Okay. So Julie from Indiana. And so, I haven't just now talked about the winning strategies. I've mentioned some of them in the past. I put links up for my winning strategies, a connection to my category on my website. It's also available there on the front page. You can do one of the drop down menus and it'll show you. I won't show you now. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you can find all my strategy stuff. I broke it up into like tribal gaming strategies, learning, because there's some history stuff going on next weekend. Just a spoiler alert here for next Q&A, will be on January 17th, 2020. 100 years after January 17th, 1920, the first day of American Prohibition, so raise a drink, I guess. But this is not about alcohol. Slots were having a problem back then. They had to start giving out gum instead of cash prizes or cigars or beer in bars, because people were in the country were turning against it. Like alcohol, they were doing the same thing with gambling. And so slot machines, had to start dispensing gum. They became vending machines. If you won something, maybe you got a piece of gum. Or if you won something, you did get a piece of gum. And that wasn't considered as illegal. And when the speakeasies opened up, because American Prohibition started January 17th, 1920, casinos went back to having cash payouts. Coin-operated slot machines went into speakeasies, and it became what is known from 1920 to 1932, 31, for 12 years. American Prohibition existed, and during that 12 years is, besides all the prohibition stuff having to do with alcohol, it is also known as the golden age of slots, because they just went boom. When they were speakeasy, multiple ones, those speakeasies were the beginning casinos for slot machines. And that's how much of a boom it made. So that's, 100th anniversary is next Saturday, a week from today. Right. So, Julie from Indiana. So there's a technique, that I call the 5-pull method, where you're trying to use the business practice of the casino against the casino. The casino business practice is to have a small win, in the first couple of bets, so that you would then spend what you just won and everything you brought with you. That's the intent of the casino. That's the business practice. Works surprisingly well. So one of my techniques to win is to find casinos that do that. And it turns out to be about 1 in 3 casinos. Very popular. I didn't know how popular it was going to be, but because I found it in mine, I'm like, well, I wonder how many others do this. Turns out a lot. So check for this. If you get that taste, you make 5 bets. If you can make 5 bets maximum, you don't win anything, move on to the next slot machine. If you win anything, say in the second bet, don't do the remaining 5. Stop then, take that money, go to the next slot machine and bet 5 times or until you win something, which would be maximum 5 times, but stop if you win something, anything whatsoever. And Julie, may or may not have known about this, but some people know these things because they see them too. Julie from Indiana, from our Indiana slots community, said, my last casino trip, I spent only playing in the high limit room. Yeah, this technique, I wrote it up, as well. And as I told her, if this technique works on one slot machine in that casino where you get to taste, why wouldn't you go to the high limit room? because it's not just one slot machine. It's all slot machines in the casino. It's a business practice. So why not go to the high limit room and do it? And that's where I've had some success. So, she says, Julie from Indiana says, my last casino trip, I spent only playing in the high limit room. I had decided to play 10 spins or until I won. Right. My 5-pull method can also be 10-pull. I think 5-pull is a little more conservative. I think you have more of a profit, because if it was going to pay out, it was probably going to pay out by 5, but some people like to play 10. It cuts in their profit a little bit, but they want to play 10 times. Partly the reason for that is because 5 bets per slot machine, you can go through all the slot machines in a casino pretty fast. And then what do? You go home. But if you make 10 bets, you can stay twice as long. So more or less. So Julie says, my last casino trip, I spent only playing in the high limit room. I had decided to play 10 spins or until I won. I only play $5 and $10 slots. I haven't got the courage to move up yet. Hey, if you feel resistance on moving up to your denominations, I completely agree. Don't play the $100 slot machine. It's just a waste of your money. It's like playing the lottery. It's very unlikely. You need like $18,000 to have a chance. But then you might win more than $18,000. So, but who has $18,000? That's a bankroll. Yuck. Anyway, she says, I haven't gotten the courage to move up yet. While I didn't win a jackpot, I did manage to win 300 on 4 different machines with between a $30 to $75 investment and $500 on one machine. I repeated this pattern the next morning. I won $300 on 2 machines and $900 on a third. So no taxable jackpots, no W-2 hand pays. Still taxable, according to the IRS, but not a taxable W-2G income tax form. She says, I walked away with $2,900 with a $420 investment. So why don't I do that? I think I have this. This is... So she says 2,900 and spent 420. And so she made just under 7 times her bankroll, 6.9. She said, we proceeded to another casino on our way home, and I decided to only put money in machines that were left on a win. That's another thing I talk about, various places. I get a lot of questions, so I just try to answer them. So it's, any number of places. She might have read that, probably in the Indiana Slots group. But sometimes, if you find a slot machine, somebody was asking me, so I saw a slot machine that had a win on it, and I thought, well, it just had a big win on it, and I'm not going to play it. And I'm like, no, it's hot. Play it. Make at least one bet, but don't do anything more than you would otherwise do. But so many players avoid a machine with like a $400,000 win that it just sits there idle, begging people to play it. It's in a winning mode. And so I say, don't go crazy. Just bet what you would normally bet, but don't avoid it because it's great because, this is a strategy that kind of counters other slots players, myths. Well, if it's got a big jackpot, it's not going to pay out for a while. No, that's not how gambling works. That's not how statistics work. It won, so it's hot. Check it out. Might just been a momentary fluctuation in the odds, but it might actually be set to win. Just have to rethink some of these things. Okay, proceeded to another casino. We left that second casino where they put money into those that had left on a win. They left with $585 in profit. I have found I have much better odds in early morning hours or Sunday afternoons. I have won some on Friday or Saturday night, but most of my better payouts have been all at other times. So this is, Julie talking about her experiences. And these are the sorts of things I wrote an article about, and I'm sharing with you, and just tips and tricks and winning strategies. And this is what I'm talking about. Again, taking those business strategies and using them against the casino. Let's see. So when I do a consultation, I'll send you some questions in advance so I have a chance to prepare, like what state are you in and what's your favorite casino and what's your goals, and do a little bit of pre-work to get you to answer short answers to short questions so I can prep a little bit. But I have one here from Steve. Who said, it would be great if we could put this on the show. And I wanted to give you an example of what you would get if you were to go to professorslots.com/consult, and sign up for a 50-minute, relatively inexpensive, consultation. I went to my local, Steve says, hi, John. Steve says, hi, John. I went to my local casino and it gives the name. I won't say it. The casino was having a special Friday giveaway, for the upcoming, football game this Sunday. 20 grand giveaway, free box seat and free play. Please tell me what I did wrong. I spent around 2 grand on numerous machines. I played dollar and multi-denominational machines, mostly 10-cent and some cents. I counted 7 bonuses, and some 5 cents. I counted 7 bonuses that I got. Or were the machines turned down that much? I did see jackpots going off, some rather nice ones, 28 grand and 17 grand and your typical $1,500 ones. Any suggestions on what I could do different? Maybe you could talk about this tomorrow, or on the podcast. That would be fine. Right. All I can say, it was a very bad night. If you know what I mean. LOL. Laugh out loud. Right. So, although maybe we should say it's, lots of luck. It's gambling sort of LOL. Right. So here's the problem. If the casino wants you to be there, that's not a good sign. If they're trying to get you to have, have a giveaway, a car, some great tickets to a football game with all the perks, including, 20 grand giveaway, they expect to make all that money back that night. So, I have never found big promotional events to be a good time to gamble. It has happened. I have to wonder if that was entirely luck-based, but it seemed like a terrible time to be at the casino when the casino invited me to be there. That make sense? I found early the next morning after a big giveaway, I mean, if you want to go to the promotion and check the rules and try to win the promotion, put your card through the slot machine and be eligible to win. Check the rules, see if there's an advantage. That's advantage plays. Do that. But sitting there gambling during that time when they want you to be there, not a good idea. I would say that's where you went wrong. All right. Try to win the 20 grand from the promotion. But, there was other people who were winning, but you're always going to see, when a big crowd is there, you're always going to see winners. And, those machines might have been the ones that were set up to be winners. I wanted to ask you, as soon as I read that, were those machines the ones that were easily visible from a distance? Because that's another winning strategy I talk about. It's actually the oldest one, been around for decades, even before they changed the casino operating system, is they'd make one slot machine that was easily visible from a distance or a walkway or something like that. A winner that has a budget, I call it like a hidden promotion. It just gets people excited and they all run to a different slot machine and lose money. Usually. Or only get like a 93% return, which is making money for the casino. By having one machine set up to be extraordinarily, high odds, where you win almost every 5 bets, you win $500 or something. I did that myself back in 2004. And the next day it just shut down. It was 6 days of winning 13 taxable jackpots. I've talked about this. And then it's, going into the 7th day and put $500 in and it's gone 6 minutes later. And like, what the heck just happened? I may have put in a second $500. Same thing happened to it. And at that point, I'm like, okay, stop spending money. But, So, I made my own mistakes and tried to learn from them. Right. So you were there at the casino's suggestion, and that's the problem, Steve. Also, the machines that you're seeing winning, I really do, think about it. Were they on the end of a road, near the bar, near a walkway? Were they in the dark corner? I think not, because that's another business practice that casinos will do. What you wanted to do was get on one of those machines, but the person on it probably would not want to get off that machine. So play it the next morning. And there's your combination. Next morning, the casino's trying to balance some things. They probably took in more money the night before than they needed to. This is another winning strategy. I'll get to each one of these as we'll talk through things, and I'll have regular videos on them. But just to have a conversation here, if you've read all my articles, then you would know what I'm talking about, or even read the book. It was set up to fail, Steve. So let's, before I get into, I think I've kind of covered the questions. I've got a bunch of comments that have been coming in. So let me take a look at those. People saying hello. Denise says, I have found in Oklahoma, do not play on holidays. Wait till they are over and everyone back to work. And then I go. Really pay good then for me. Hey, Las Vegas is the same way. California comes to visit on holidays and the weekends. All right. I mean, I'm not exaggerating by too much. A lot of people come in from California. There's not many places to go. You got the ocean on one side and Nevada on the other. So they might go to Reno. They might go to Las Vegas. It's just a short drive from the LA area, a few hours drive, and easily drivable. And the casinos just shut it down. Turn the odds way down on the weekends, but they're higher than average during the week for the locals. And it works for them because their state law, most places have a theoretical payout return that must exceed, if they have one, it's for the month, possibly for the year or per slot machine. Nevada has it per week. All right. Well, actually, it's return statistics, but it's somewhat of the same thing. They can have an average for the week, which is not the average for, the 5 days of the workday. And, it's different from the 2 weekends, and it averages out and nobody notices because they only have to report those things on a weekly basis. So Oklahoma sounds just like Las Vegas. In the week, not the weekend. Had some people, after I wrote that article about, so you're visiting Las Vegas, this is what you do. Has a section on being on the Strip, has a section on being downtown, which is a great area, and kind of what happens, and the fellow that I was talking with, Steve, different Steve, he was there for a conference, and so he didn't get much time to gamble a little bit until his flight was on Sunday, I guess, and he wanted Sunday morning, and so he gambled Friday evening and Saturday, and he just he had done a little bit on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but he just saw such a stark difference at the same machines between the weekday and the weekend. It sounds like Oklahoma is the same way. It's a common business practice. Denise also says, when I figure out the best times to play, they change it. Yes, I have in my book, I talk about how there's a best time to play, which is the time I won a jackpot or someone else won a jackpot on that machine that day of the week. Not the next day, but a week later, I'll come back and I play a few minutes early before that timestamp and a little bit after, and my odds are better, but only for a couple of weeks. And then it seems to move around. I believe it's based on how many people come to visit the casino and, and the crowds. And those crowds kind of meander about as far as when it's peaking and not. And I think that's what the casino's tracking with their business practice. So yeah, I'd find a great time to win, but it only lasts a little while. And I'd just make only several $1,000s and I'd be like, okay, this one's over, but this one's still hot. This one's not. And just track it. And this is something you can learn. Okay. Hi, Lois and Dave. Glad that you could be here. I know you had something that you needed to do, but welcome. Wise Virgin, Richard, I believe. Why not a meetup at your local Horseshoe home casino in Ohio? I just don't see it happening. The reason why I don't see it happening, some people are in Ohio, is what I need to do is get a room at the casino. All right. And these things are, I want the casino to pay for it. I want the casino to pay me. If you have questions, I mean, if somebody in Ohio asks questions, I've been to most of the casinos. Just ask me and I'll just straight up tell you, take me 5 minutes to write the email, instead of taking, a full day with lots of driving to do the same thing in person. So I just don't see myself being able to help enough people when I'm trying to go national, I'm trying to go global. And, did you want to know which slot machine at Miami Valley Gaming to do? I wrote it up. It's in an article that I did. I believe I did. Yeah. And I tell you exactly which one to go to and roughly what time and kind of what works. There's no real banger of a plan, business practices take advantage of it, Miami Valley Gaming. But if you go to the state Ohio Gaming Commission, and this is the sort of thing I would talk about with anybody, at any state, if you go to the Ohio Gaming Commission, you'll see that Miami Valley Gaming is consistently the best payout returns on the return statistics, of all the casinos. So right there, good to go. I just don't see it. If I can I need to, like somebody offered to show me the winning slot machines, in a casino in Indiana, which isn't too far away. They just very generous. Thank you. Walk me around and say this one and this one and this one and this one. And I'm like, okay, bring $500 and win a couple $1,000. But honestly, I would rather put my time into you guys here, work on an episode for the podcast. A couple $100 isn't going to pay $250,000 in student loans. Sorry. So I'm trying to find a way to maximize helping the most number of people. And I'm not really in it for I'm not getting I'm not giving myself a paycheck for 3 years now, on my business, but that doesn't mean I'm not moving towards helping people and being paid for it. Let's see. That's just talking about being an entrepreneur. Lois says, Lois or Dave, that very thing has worked for me rather well, at least in Florida. Thanks for that. Dave, is a family friend. My father asked me to go to Brighton Seminole Tribal Casino 2 hours south of Orlando to say hello, and maybe show him how to win. And ask me questions like, so why did you call it ProfessorSlots.com? Why didn't you call it JohnFriedel.com? And I said, well, no one cares. And he kind of looked at me, my dad, and I'm like, well, John Friedel Sr. cares and John Friedel Jr. cares, but not anybody else. So when I went down there, I did figure out 2 different ways to win. I basically based on information from my family and their friends, where they would say this, this, and this, and I explained what was going on. And then I found another way, which is collecting tastes that actually did at that casino. And then there was like a third one to that. So that's just another article. K. Dean. I've lost $25K in the last month on slot. Any advice? Stop losing $25K. Well, you're left out a piece of information. How much did you win? Because if you won 50,000 and you lost 75,000, and so you lost total 25,000, my advice would be different than if you straight up lost 25K and had no winnings. What I would say is if you won a bunch of money and lost all that plus 25K, this is my response. You are winning enough. Figure out how to stop losing. Reduce how much you lost. So you have remaining how much you win. Then you have a profit. So you can have skills to win, and then you could indiscriminately just spend it all. I mean, the other possibility is that, a lot of people will win money, and the whole point is then, great, now I've got more money I can spend at the casino so I can still go home broke. Yeah. Well, I know your overall, thank you for the comment. I've been up and down, but overall down 25K. Did you win? Keep gambling records. Deduct up to your winnings. You could receive 5 or even 10K, in a tax return, which reduces your 25K loss to maybe a 15 or 20K loss. If you have promotions, if you spending that much money, you might very well be, getting promotions, getting gifts. If you can figure out a way to reduce your spending at Christmas so everybody in the family gets a bread maker, when otherwise you would have bought them a bread maker or whatever this casino has given you, then you can save on your spend at Christmas, by regifting. And also, I would think about what you're doing. There are strategies to read my articles. There are strategies that are in place. See if they apply at your casino. If they don't apply at your casino, because not every business practice is applied, maybe it's an older style casino, you've gone through everything that I have to share, and you don't find any of them work at that casino, it's time to go to the next casino down the road and see if they work there. Think about what you're doing. People come to me and say, well, I've lost $2,000 and I'd like to get it back. I'm like, that's not what we're talking about here. People are like, I lost my house. Can you help me? I'm like, what? No, you're down 25K. Golden rule. Don't take anything to the casino you can't afford to lose comfortably. You're not getting that back. I would hope, that you would break even in the future. That sounds like a goal. Discounting this loss. And then if you could turn that around to winning a little bit, I can't make you luckier. I can point out the business practices, and see if any of them apply at the casinos that are available to you. There's no free lunch, which is kind of an ironic saying to have, when we get free lunches. Right. So sorry. I have a coworker, Terry. He's quite a character, and he just said, I want to be rich. Big smile. And, well, Terry, let's go to the casino and we'll do that. But, if I win you a taxable jackpot and you spend it before you leave the casino, that's totally on you. Okay. Thanks, Terry. I always appreciate the comments. Again, for those who, joined a little bit late, Saturday, a week from today, is the 100th anniversary of the first day of American Prohibition, when slot machines went into speakeasies and pretty much turned those speakeasies into casinos for the first time. And it's also known as the golden age of slots, the following 12 years, which is how long American Prohibition went on. See, look what you've done, Terry. You've instigated other people. Steve is like, me too. Dean Joel, will having a slot host help direct you to better playing machines? No, because the slot host, the casino employees cannot gamble at the casino they work for. So the host wouldn't know. Someone who might know is a slot attendant, because they're paying out hand pays. And I always have a conversation. I always have a conversation with a slot attendant. You've done this, right? When you travel and you go to a restaurant you've never been to and you sit at the bar because, you're in your business suit and you're sitting there and you ask the bartender, hey, what's good on the menu? Because how are you supposed to know? Ask somebody. I talk to a slot attendants all the time and I say, hey, how's it going? Are you handing out jackpots? What's the situation? And they'll be straight up say, well, that machine over there is paying out, and you have to decide whether or not you believe it. But sometimes you build a relationship with these slot attendants. Hosts don't know. Attendants see it because they're doing the hand pays, and no casino employee has a clue because, unless they're a new casino employee and they used to gamble there, maybe they might know. But they don't gamble at that casino, nor its chain. That's the other thing. If you go to the promotions counter and talk to them about the rewards club, they are very they don't know much, if anything, about it, because particularly the high level stuff, because there's just no good information because they're not a member. Can't be. Kay Dean, I am going to look over your articles. I'm relatively new to slots and want to learn as much as possible. I am not going to lose my house over 20. No, I didn't mean to say that you would. I just, I hear terrible stories, and I'm like, I can't help. So I've found a bunch of things. Go through my articles, take a look. The book was what I wrote first. The articles, expanded on a few points on each of the topics in the book. So if you just want to get one little thing, it would be the book on Amazon, Learning to Win. It is here, to show this again. So I'm holding it up and, want to make sure that you can see that. Okay. So Steve, John, are you still going to the casino by you on a regular basis, weekly or monthly? Congratulations on 2,000 subscribers. Thank you. This last year I didn't, I felt I could go, I went like 4 times, mostly casino reviews. I'm mostly going for you. People who have a question about, Miami Valley or Pittsburgh's Rivers Casino, how do I win there? Like, well, I was in the area. I could swing by and figure it out, but I'm not there to make money because anything, that's what I decided when I figured out how to win. None of this, I was making $30,000 a year profit, Hey, that's wonderful to make $30,000 in profit. And that won't allow me to pay my student loans for 10 years. If I don't spend it on anything else. No, that would be more than 10 years because that's just straight up balance. But in 10 years, I have more interest. So yeah, 15, 20 years. That's not going to cut it. So I don't try to make money at casinos for myself because I'm doing this instead. But I do need to make regular visits to the casino. I felt I could get by with a year, because not a lot changes as far as the machines are coming out, a few changes, but I need to continue to go to casinos to see the new stuff. And, that's my only goal, not to try to win. One of the things I was considering was, doing something along those lines. But it's hard. I consider slots playing like a pretty serious hobby, like a half-time job. Right. And I already have this business as a full-time job and my day job as a full-time job. So now we're getting up to 2.5, days jobs. And when do I sleep? So I will be going to casinos to learn more for you. I didn't do enough of that in 2019. And that includes gambling, but it's basically testing my theories and trying stuff out, not sitting there and enjoying myself, playing. I'm sitting there enjoying myself working for you. Okay. Great session one more time. Great live Q&A session on YouTube. Master Casino Slots. Win your way to success. Everybody have a great day, a great week. I'll see you next Saturday. First day of Prohibition 100 years ago. And have fun, be safe, and bye. Oh, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is the second segment of the show on slot machine casino gambling. Here I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district, emphasizing by far anything of interest to slot machine casino gamblers. Up next is Florida slot machine casino gambling in 2019. Here goes. Florida slot machine casino gambling consists of 8 parimutuel racetracks in Broward and Miami-Dade counties, 7 tribal casinos, and day-long casino cruises. A theoretical minimum payout exists, and monthly return statistics are publicly available for the 8 commercial racinos. Neither are available for Florida's tribal casinos. The minimum legal gambling age in Florida depends upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos, it's 21. For poker rooms, bingo, the lottery, and parimutuel wagering at racetracks, it's 18. State gaming regulations have authorized slot machines at parimutuel wagering racetracks located in Broward and Miami-Dade counties. These counties contain the cities of Miami and Fort Lauderdale in southern Florida. Next up is a usually short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I've included in case you live in this U.S. state and are considering owning a slot machine. Here it is. In Florida, it is legal to own a slot machine privately if it is at least 20 years old. The Gaming Control Commission is a division of parimutuel wagering within Florida's Department of Business and Professional Regulation, DBPR. Overall, the DBPR authorizes, regulates, or provides oversight for Florida's gaming industries of parimutuel wagering, including horse racing, harness horse racing, greyhound racing, and jai-alai games, as well as card room games and Florida's tribal gaming. There are over 3 dozen parimutuel wagering facilities in Florida for which the DBPR is responsible, including the 8 sites with slot machines. The DBPR does not regulate bingo, the Florida lottery, or day-long casino boats. Historically, Florida has a long history of gambling, starting 100 years before gaming became legal. For example, at his first hotel, the Pond de Leon in St. Augustine in 1888, Henry Flagler created the exclusive and famous Bacchus Club Casino. Tribal gaming originally arrived in Florida with the Federal Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, IGRA, of 1988. With it, Florida's 2 federally recognized American Indian tribes opened casinos offering Class II bingo-style gaming. Eventually, the Seminole Tribe of Florida has successfully negotiated a tribal state compact, allowing them to offer Class III Vegas-style gaming at their 7 casinos. However, the Mokusaki Tribe of Indians of Florida did not successfully complete their gaming compact negotiations, limiting them to Class II bingo-style gaming machines at their single casino. In this section, I discuss Florida gambling establishments. There are 8 parimutuel racetracks with slot machines, 7 tribal casinos, and 2 daily casino cruise ships based in Florida. The largest casino in Florida is Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa, with nearly 5,000 gaming machines and 179 table games. The second largest casino is Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee, with 1,300 gaming machines and 38 table games. 8 of Florida's 39 parimutuel wagering facilities offer slot machines. These racinos are in Broward and Miami-Dade counties, hosting Miami and Fort Lauderdale. As usual, when there are too many casinos to mention here, a complete list along with links to their websites, assuming they've set one up, is available on my website blog article for this state at ProfessorSlots.com/FL. Florida's 7 tribal casinos are in southern Florida. As usual, when there are too many casinos to mention here, a complete list of those casinos, along with links to the website, assuming they've set one up, is available on my website blog article for this state at ProfessorSlots.com/FL. As an alternative to enjoying Florida slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state. Bordering Florida is, to the north, Georgia, to the north and west, Alabama, to the southeast, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. To visit any of my articles on these U.S. states or territories, simply visit ProfessorSlots.com followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my Georgia Slots article is available at ProfessorSlots.com/GA. Besides a host of multi-day international cruise ships with casinos, there are 2 day-long casino cruise boats with onboard Vegas-style gaming available in Florida. These are the Tropical Breeze Casino in Port Richey, located 37 miles northwest of Tampa, and Victory Casino Cruises in Port Canaveral, located 60 miles southeast of Orlando. Are you interested in sharing and learning with other slots enthusiasts in Florida? If so, join our Florida Slots community on Facebook at professorslots.com/FBFL. All you'll need is a Facebook profile to join this private Facebook group freely. There, you'll be able to privately share your slots experiences, as well as chat with players about slots gambling in or near Florida. Again, use this convenient link I've created to go directly to our group on Facebook, professorslots.com/FBFL. Join us. Parimutuel wagering sites with slot machines in Florida have a minimum theoretical payout of 85%. Actual return statistics by month in casino are publicly available. However, you'll need to perform some calculations to obtain player win percentages. To calculate player win percent for each casino, multiply 100% by credits out and divide the result by credits in. Using the latest statistics available at the time of this review, September 2019, the average monthly return for all racinos in September 2019 was 92.3%. The highest performance went to Hialeah Park with 93.6%, closely followed by Magic City at 93.4%. The lowest return went to Isle Casino with 90.5%. Florida's tribal casinos do not share theoretical limits on their slot machine payout percentages, nor do they make actual payout return statistics publicly available. In summary, Florida slot machine casino gambling consists of 8 parimutuel wagering racinos near Miami and Fort Lauderdale, 7 tribal casinos in southern Florida, and day-long cruise ships to international waters in Port Richey and Port Canaveral. Commercial racinos have a theoretical minimum payout of 85% and publicly available monthly actual return statistics for each casino. Tribal casinos share neither payouts nor returns. In the last year, Seminole Hard Rock in Tampa increased their slots by 25%, now with nearly 5,000 machines. Otherwise, the Isle Casino Racing Pompano Park became Isle Casino Pompano. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is the second state comprising this episode segment, Georgia slot machine casino gambling in 2019. Here goes. Georgia slot machine casino gambling consists of a single casino boat making daily trips to international waters where casino gambling is legal. There are no payout limits for Georgia's casino boat. Further, there is no public reporting of actual return statistics. The minimum legal gambling age in Georgia depends upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos and poker rooms, it's not available. For bingo, the lottery, and parimutuel wagering, it's 18. The legal gambling age on casino boats sailing from Georgia ports is 21. Anyone wishing to board must present a government-issued ID showing they meet this minimum gambling age of 21 for Georgia. It is legal to own a slot machine in Georgia privately if manufactured before 1950. Georgia has the Georgia Lottery Corporation to regulate the state lottery. Otherwise, the state has a commercial gambling unit, CGU, responsible for coin-operated amusement machines at convenience stores and other businesses around the state. There are no land-based casinos in Georgia. However, a day-trip casino boat ships out of Brunswick, a city nicknamed the shrimp capital of the world, in the southeast corner of the state. The single casino in Georgia is not land-based. Instead, it is a 200-foot, 4-deck yacht making daily gaming trips to international waters. The Emerald Princess II Casino accommodates up to 400 passengers. On board, the casino boat has 250 slot machines, 12 blackjack tables, 4 poker tables, 2 roulette wheels, and a craps table. The ticket price for individuals to board is $10 per person. Regular day-long cruises have their daily schedules posted on the Emerald Princess II Casino website. There are no tribal casinos in Georgia. In addition, the state of Georgia has no federally recognized American Indian tribes. As an alternative to enjoying Georgia slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state. Bordering Georgia is, to the north, Tennessee and North Carolina, to the south, Florida, and to the west, Alabama. To visit any of my articles on these U.S. states, simply visit professorslots.com followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my North Carolina slots article is available at professorslots.com/NC. Casino cruises are to international waters without a gaming jurisdiction. Therefore, there are no legal limits for minimum or maximum payout returns. Typically, casino boat operators don't publish their actual payout return statistics. A casino boat operator sets theoretical payout returns to satisfy their business goals. If set too low, it results in an unacceptable amount of customer dissatisfaction, reputation, and future business. If set too high, the boat operator makes less profit than desired to, pardon the pun, keep their business afloat. Georgia Slot Machine Casino Gambling consists of Emerald Princess II Casino, a casino gambling boat that sails out of the port of Brunswick. Only 3 miles offshore to international waters, gambling is not illegal. Individuals must be 21 to board. In the last year, the Emerald Princess II Casino boat changed its minimum gambling age from 18 to 21. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Part 1 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is a live Q&A session on YouTube. Remember, my weekly Q&A session on YouTube is on Saturdays from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Bring whatever slots questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer them. An easy-to-remember link to my YouTube channel is ProfessorSlots.com/live. Feel free to stop by anytime during my hour-long Q&A. To suggest a topic or ask a question which might end up as a blog article or on a podcast episode, email it to john@ProfessorSlots.com, where John is spelled Jon. Part 2 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast are more brief overviews of the current state of gambling in 2 U.S. states, territories, or the federal district. Next time, I'll be talking to you about the great U.S. territory of Guam and the great U.S. state of Hawaii. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Show notes for this episode are now available within most podcast apps, but are also available on my website at ProfessorSlots.com/episode 73. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye.